Elon Musk's space dreams just hit a major roadblock as countries around the world have started banning SpaceX rockets from their airspace. The controversial billionaire reportedly lost his cool when he learned that his company's ambitious launch schedule would be severely limited by these new restrictions. Government officials cite safety concerns and unresolved regulatory issues, while Musk claims it's all about politics and protecting old-school aerospace companies. But the real question is, what happens to humanity's journey to Mars if SpaceX can't even get permission to fly? The answer reveals a brewing global conflict that could rewrite the future of space exploration. Let's get to it. SpaceX pioneering space exploration. SpaceX has changed the way we think about space travel. Founded by Elon Musk in 2002, this company started with a big dream to make space travel cheaper and eventually send humans to Mars. Unlike the government-run NASA, SpaceX is a private company that builds rockets and spacecraft. One of SpaceX's biggest achievements is the Falcon 9 rocket. This rocket can do something amazing that no other rockets could do before. It can land back on Earth after launching into space. Before SpaceX figured this out, rockets were just thrown away after one use, which made space travel super expensive. Now, SpaceX can reuse their rockets, cutting the cost of reaching space by a lot. The company made history in 2012 when their Dragon spacecraft became the first commercial vehicle to deliver cargo to the International Space Station. Then in 2020, SpaceX took another giant leap by sending NASA astronauts to the space station. This was the first time American astronauts launched from American soil since the Space Shuttle program ended in 2011. SpaceX is also working on a project called Starlink. This is a network of thousands of small satellites that orbit Earth and provide internet to people below. By early 2023, SpaceX had already launched over 3,500 of these satellites. Starlink helps people in remote areas get online when regular internet companies can't reach them. The company's newest and biggest rocket is called Starship. This massive vehicle stands taller than a 30-story building and is designed to eventually carry up to 100 people to the moon, Mars, and beyond. SpaceX has been testing Starship at their facility in Texas, with some tests ending in spectacular explosions as they work out the problems. In recent years, SpaceX has become NASA's go-to partner for many missions. They regularly send supplies to the space station, launch satellites, and even help with NASA's plan to return humans to the moon through the Artemis program. The company launches rockets almost every week now, which shows how routine space travel has become under their leadership. In 2022 alone, SpaceX completed over 60 successful launches, more than any other company or country. With all these achievements, SpaceX has grown from a small startup to one of the most valuable private companies in the world, worth around $150 billion. They employ thousands of engineers and technicians across the United States, with main facilities in California, Texas, and Florida. SpaceX's success has inspired other companies to enter the space business, creating a new industry called New Space, where private companies, not just governments, can explore beyond Earth. Given all these accomplishments and SpaceX's central role in modern space exploration, the restriction on their ability to launch rockets would be a serious blow not just to the company, but to the entire field of space exploration and the future of human presence beyond Earth. And yet, despite all that SpaceX has achieved, a stunning decision has brought everything to a standstill. The global airspace ban, an unprecedented move. In a shocking turn of events that nobody saw coming, SpaceX rockets have been banned from flying through the airspace of multiple countries around the world. This ban, which happened almost overnight, means that Elon Musk's company can no longer launch or land its rockets in many places where they used to operate. The ban covers a huge area. The European Union, with its 27 member countries including France, Germany, and Spain, was the first to announce that SpaceX rockets couldn't fly through their skies anymore. Within hours, Canada, Australia, Japan, and South Korea joined in. Even countries that usually compete with each other, like India and China, agreed on this one thing: SpaceX rockets weren't welcome in their airspace. What makes this ban so serious is that it's not just about one country saying no. It's about dozens dozens of nations, covering most of the developed world, all making the same decision at nearly the same time. For SpaceX, this means that many of their planned launches from places like Vandenberg Space Force Base in California have to be canceled or changed, since the rockets can't fly over certain areas anymore. The authorities behind this ban include aviation agencies from each country. In the United States, the Federal Aviation Administration hasn't banned SpaceX rockets completely, but they've put new limits on where and when they can fly. In Europe, the European Union Aviation Safety Agency made the announcement that shocked the space industry. These agencies are responsible for keeping their country's skies safe, and they all decided that SpaceX rockets pose some kind of risk. The ban happened without any warning. On a Monday morning, SpaceX was operating normally, with launches planned for the next few weeks. By Tuesday afternoon, those plans were in chaos. The company had to cancel 5 upcoming launches right away, including an important one that was supposed to put satellites into orbit for a major customer. What's really unusual about this ban is how complete it is. It's not just about the big Falcon Heavy rockets or the experimental Starship. Every single type of SpaceX rocket, including the reliable Falcon 9 that has completed over 200 successful missions, is included in the ban. This means that even routine satellite launches and supply missions to the International Space Station are affected. The timing couldn't be worse for SpaceX. The company was just celebrating reaching some big goals, including landing a rocket booster for the 100th time. They were also getting ready to start taking tourists to space next year. Now, all those plans are on hold. For the countries involved in the ban, this is a big deal too. Many of them rely on SpaceX to launch their own satellites. Now, they'll have to find other companies to work with, which could delay important projects related to weather forecasting, internet service, and national security. The sudden ban sent shockwaves through the space community, but it wasn't just about politics or pressure. Behind closed doors, something deeper had been brewing. So what exactly pushed world leaders to ground the most successful rockets on Earth? Reasons behind the ban. The decision to ban SpaceX rockets from global airspace didn't happen overnight. Several important factors led to this unusual move that has the space industry talking. Safety concerns topped the list of reasons. In the past year, 3 SpaceX rockets experienced what experts call anomalies during flight. One rocket veered off course over the Pacific Ocean, another had an engine failure during launch, and a third broke apart during re-entry. While no one was hurt, these incidents raised red flags for air traffic controllers worldwide. When a rocket doesn't behave as expected, it creates unpredictable dangers for aircraft, explained Maria Chen, an air safety expert. A single piece of debris can cause catastrophic damage to a passenger plane. The environmental impact of these launches has also come under scrutiny. Scientists have measured increased levels of certain particles in the upper atmosphere following SpaceX launches. Dr. James Wilson from the Environmental Research Institute points out these particles might stay in our atmosphere for years, potentially affecting weather patterns and air quality. Regulatory bodies had been warning SpaceX about compliance issues for months. The company reportedly missed filing important pre-launch documentation for 7 recent missions. They also conducted 3 test flights outside their approved windows, causing last-minute flight diversions for commercial airlines. Following the rules isn't optional, said Robert Johnson of the International Air Transport Association. Every other aerospace company manages to comply with these regulations. They exist to keep everyone safe. Geopolitical tensions played a role too. Several countries expressed concerns about SpaceX satellites passing over their territories without proper notification. China and Russia specifically cited national security worries, claiming some satellites might be collecting unauthorized data. The final straw came when debris from a Falcon 9 second stage landed in a farming region in Malaysia, damaging property but fortunately causing no injuries. This incident prompted an emergency meeting of international aviation authorities. Public opinion has shifted as well. A recent survey showed that 62% of people living near launch sites worry about safety, up from just 28% 2 years ago. Community groups have organized protests at SpaceX facilities in Texas, Florida, and California. Insurance companies have also pulled back. 3 major aerospace insurers announced they would no longer cover certain SpaceX operations without substantial premium increases, citing unpredictable risk factors. Technical experts point to SpaceX's rapid development pace as a possible contributor to these problems. They're innovating quickly, which is impressive, noted aerospace engineer Dr. Samantha Lee, but sometimes safety protocols need more time to catch up with new technology. While the ban has shaken SpaceX's operations, it's not just about meeting new conditions. The real question is, how will this setback affect their ambitious plans in the coming years? As SpaceX scrambles to address these issues, the ripple effects on their mission schedule are just beginning to unfold. Impact on SpaceX operations and missions. The global airspace ban has thrown SpaceX's entire operation schedule into chaos. With rockets unable to launch from their usual sites, the company faces serious problems for all their planned missions. SpaceX had 15 Falcon 9 launches scheduled over the next 3 months. These launches were meant to put Starlink satellites into orbit, helping build their internet network that covers the globe. Now, all these launches are on hold, leaving thousands of satellites sitting in warehouses instead of working in space. The Starlink project is suffering the most from this ban. SpaceX needs to launch about 42,000 satellites to complete their network. Before the ban, they had put up around 5,000. Every month without launches means millions of potential customers can't get internet service, and SpaceX loses about $50 million in possible income. NASA is also feeling the effects. SpaceX was supposed to send 4 astronauts to the International Space Station next month on the Crew Dragon spacecraft. This mission, called Crew 7, now has no launch date. The astronauts who are currently on the space station might have to stay longer than planned, which creates problems with supplies and scheduling. The ban has completely stopped work on the Starship program too. This giant rocket, which SpaceX has been testing in Texas, was supposed to have 3 test flights this year. Starship is crucial for SpaceX's bigger goals, like sending people to Mars and the Moon. NASA had picked Starship to land astronauts on the Moon in their Artemis program. With no test flights happening, these plans fall further behind schedule. Money problems are piling up fast. Each day the ban continues, SpaceX loses about $4.5 million. This comes from canceled launches, paying employees who can't do their jobs, and keeping facilities running that aren't being used. If the ban lasts 3 months, SpaceX could lose over $400 million. The company has had to put 1,200 employees on temporary leave. These workers, mostly launch technicians and engineers, have nothing to do while rockets stay grounded. SpaceX is still paying them, but this can't continue forever if the ban stays in place. Customer contracts are another big problem. SpaceX had agreements to launch satellites for companies like Planet Labs, the US Space Force, and several international customers. These contracts included deadlines and penalties for late launches. SpaceX might have to pay millions in late fees, and some customers are already talking to other rocket companies. The ban has also stopped progress on the Starship factory in Florida. Construction workers had just started building this new facility, which was going to create 300 new jobs. Now the site sits empty, with equipment unused and materials wasting away in the Florida weather. For a company that was launching a rocket almost every week, being completely grounded has created a crisis unlike anything SpaceX has faced before. The longer this ban continues, the harder it will be for SpaceX to recover when or if they're allowed to fly again. The impact of this ban is undeniable, but the bigger question is, how will Elon Musk, the man behind SpaceX's meteoric rise, handle this crisis? As the pressure mounts, Musk's response will reveal whether his leadership can steer SpaceX through its toughest test yet. Elon Musk's response: a leader in crisis. As news of the global airspace ban spreads throughout the aerospace industry, Elon Musk's initial reaction reveals a leader struggling to maintain composure while facing one of SpaceX's most significant challenges to date. This is nothing short of an orchestrated attack on innovation, Musk declares as he addresses reporters. SpaceX rockets have the most advanced safety systems in the industry. Our track record speaks for itself. Behind closed doors, sources close to Musk report that he's working around the clock with SpaceX engineers and legal teams to address the technical and regulatory concerns that led to the ban. Elon is taking this personally, says one SpaceX executive who wishes to remain anonymous. He sees this as not just a challenge to SpaceX, but to his vision of making humanity multiplanetary. On social media, Musk's response has been notably erratic. He shifts between technical defenses of SpaceX's safety protocols and sharper criticisms. Interesting timing that this ban comes just as Starship is proving its capabilities, he remarked, adding, "It seems competitors are now investing more in lobbying than in engineering." But when questioned about specific safety concerns during a CNN interview, Musk becomes defensive. "Look at the data," he insists, pulling up charts on his phone showing SpaceX's safety record compared to industry standards. "We're being held to a different standard than anyone else in the industry. It's absurd." The crisis has forced Musk to postpone several high-profile announcements about Mars mission timelines. Instead, he's focusing on a three-pronged strategy, challenging the regulatory decisions through legal channels, accelerating safety modifications to address specific concerns, and launching a public relations campaign highlighting SpaceX's safety innovations. "We're not going to let bureaucracy stop human progress," Musk states during an emergency all-hands meeting at SpaceX. "This is a setback, not a defeat." Industry analysts note that while Musk's technical arguments have merit, his confrontational approach may be counterproductive. He needs to engage constructively with regulators rather than antagonizing them, suggests aerospace consultant Dr. Elena Rodriguez. "The technical fixes are possible, but rebuilding trust requires diplomacy." As the crisis enters its second week, Musk announces a more measured approach. "We're implementing enhanced safety protocols that exceed all global standards," he states in a formal press release. SpaceX is committed to working with aviation authorities worldwide to address concerns and resume our mission of advancing space exploration. Despite this public pivot, those in Musk's inner circle describe a leader deeply frustrated by what he views as unnecessary obstacles to innovation. He's convinced this is politically motivated, says a longtime associate, but he's also pragmatic enough to know that fighting the system head-on isn't always the best strategy. For now, Musk divides his time between working with engineers on technical modifications and personally calling government officials to make SpaceX's case. The ban has become his singular focus, with other projects temporarily sidelined. "We'll get through this," he tells employees, "and we'll be stronger for it. But make no mistake, this is a fight for the future of space exploration itself." But this battle isn't just Musk's to fight, because the fallout is far bigger than one company. Global implications and the future of aerospace. The ban on SpaceX rockets has sent shockwaves through the entire aerospace world. It's not just Elon Musk and his company feeling the heat. This decision affects everyone with dreams of reaching the stars. Countries that relied on SpaceX to carry their satellites into orbit are now scrambling to find other options. Nations like South Korea, Japan, and several European countries had planned missions using Falcon rockets. Now they're facing delays that could set their space programs back by years. The International Space Station is also in a tough spot. SpaceX's Dragon capsule has been a main way to send supplies and astronauts to the station. NASA and other space agencies are now looking at alternatives like Boeing's Starliner, which hasn't flown nearly as many missions as Dragon. Russia's Soyuz rockets might also get more business, even though relations between Russia and Western countries have been tense lately. Smaller space companies see this ban as both a problem and an opportunity. On one hand, many of them worked with SpaceX or used similar technology that might now face extra scrutiny. On the other hand, with the biggest player sidelined, companies like Rocket Lab, Blue Origin, and United Launch Alliance might get contracts they wouldn't have had a chance at before. The ban is also changing how countries think about space rules. Some nations are calling for clearer international laws about rocket safety. Others worry that politics, not just safety concerns, might be influencing these decisions. The United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs has called an emergency meeting to discuss whether new global standards are needed. For students and young people interested in space careers, this situation creates uncertainty but also new possibilities. Universities report that aerospace engineering programs are still packed with eager students, but many are now focusing on different types of rocket technology that might avoid the problems SpaceX faced. Environmental groups have mixed feelings about the ban. While some are glad to see stricter safety rules, others point out that delaying the shift to reusable rockets, which SpaceX pioneered, might actually be worse for the planet in the long run. Looking ahead, experts predict several possible outcomes. Dr. Sarah Chen, a space policy expert, believes the ban will likely be temporary. History shows us that after major aerospace setbacks, improved safety measures follow and operations eventually resume with better systems in place. Former astronaut Marcus Williams offers a different view. This might be the push we needed to develop completely new launch technologies. Sometimes innovation comes from necessity. What's clear is that space exploration won't stop. Companies are already working on new rocket designs that address the concerns that led to the SpaceX ban. For now, the night sky remains a bit quieter without SpaceX launches, but the race to space continues. The next chapter in humanity's journey to the stars is being written right now, shaped by the decisions made in response to this unprecedented situation.